Good morning, everyone. It is a real honor for me to be back here at the Pennsylvania State Police Academy, the finest law enforcement training facility in the United States of America. I'm mindful that we are here today to make this important announcement just a few days after the 167th class of cadets graduated the Academy on Friday. Those 50 cadets, well, they are the future of the Pennsylvania State Police. They made it through 28 weeks of training, successfully completing one of the nation's most comprehensive and intense basic training for law enforcement officers. And now they have been assigned to troops all across this Commonwealth, where they will serve our communities, I know, with distinction. They will work hard to keep Pennsylvanians safe, and they will integrate themselves in the community in ways that foster coordination, collaboration with our fellow citizens. But as local police departments across Pennsylvania struggle with workforce shortages, we know that right now Pennsylvania state troopers are being asked to do more. PSP already patrols thousands of miles across this Commonwealth on our roads and in our townships and boroughs. I believe in the women and men of the Pennsylvania State Police. And I know Colonel Paris and all of our troopers and his leadership team are ready to meet any challenge. But it is our responsibility to ensure that they have the tools, the manpower, and the flexibility to succeed in this ever-changing environment. At the same time, the demands of PSP have increased. A growing number of troopers will become eligible for retirement over the next few years. That means that right now we need more recruits who can take their place in the years to come. But the number of applicants to the Pennsylvania State Police Academy to reinforce those ranks, well, that has dropped significantly over the last several years. Consider this, in the 1990s, the Academy received 10,000 applicants per class. In 2019, just a few years ago, they had 8,000 applicants per class. But this year, they had just 1,800 applicants for their latest class. It's important to note that the diminished numbers in these classes are not unique to the Pennsylvania State Police. This is an issue for policing all across Pennsylvania and indeed in most parts of this nation. But we need to take the steps now, right here at the Pennsylvania State Police, in order to address these challenges. How do we do that? Well, we start by reaffirming that policing is a noble profession here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And this, the Pennsylvania State Police, is the finest law enforcement agency in our nation. We need to show those who want to serve that this door of opportunity is open to them. And we want to make clear that we want you on our PSP team. That's why our First Lady has spent so much time here with the Pennsylvania State Police, meeting some of our fine female troopers and showing young women and girls that we want their skills and their expertise here in our state law enforcement. And it's why I'm back here today to make an important announcement. Our State Police Academy trains highly capable public servants who work hard to make our communities safer. But for nearly 30 years, credit requirements, college credit requirements, have prevented some of the most capable and committed from being able to serve our Commonwealth. No longer will that be the case. I've directed Colonel Paris, in his role as Commissioner of the State Police, to waive the college credit requirement for Pennsylvanians who want to be state troopers effective immediately. This puts us in line with many of our neighboring states who have already dropped the college degree and credit requirements. We need to remain competitive, and this academy puts our cadets through a rigorous 28-week process of world-class training to prepare them to be highly qualified law enforcement officers. The opportunity to serve should be open to any qualified Pennsylvanian, regardless of whether they have a 4-year degree or whether they have hours of college credits. I want to make sure the doors of opportunity are open to more Pennsylvanians. From Colonel Paris and Captain Pratt to the rank and file represented by Dave Kennedy of the PSTA, we all agree that this flexibility will allow us to recruit more well-qualified applicants to be the next generation of police officer, of state trooper here in Pennsylvania. This announcement today, of course, is an extension of the commitment I made on my first full day in office. That's the day when I signed an executive order marking that 92% of state government jobs would be open to Pennsylvanians without a college degree. Since then, our administration has worked to emphasize skills and experience in the Commonwealth's hiring practices. And we've worked very hard to break down barriers to create real opportunity for Pennsylvanians who want to succeed. There are many different paths to success as a state trooper, whether that's through school, through the military, as so many of our troopers have gone, or on-the-job training. Now, all of them are open across this Commonwealth. The Commonwealth's hiring practices must reflect our reality today, and this change allows us to reflect that reality. We need to empower those who want to serve our community through the noble profession of policing, and today helps to do just that. We're going to continue this work, opening up even more doors to Pennsylvanians so everyone in this Commonwealth has the freedom to chart their own course and the opportunity to succeed. The man who's been leading our incredible efforts here over the last 7 months of my administration at the State Police is Colonel Christopher Paris. He's done yeoman's work. I'm proud to have him as a member of my cabinet, proud that he's the Commissioner of the State Police, and proud to now invite Colonel Paris to say a few words. Colonel.
Good morning. I'm happy to be here today with Governor Shapiro as we announce that we're opening the door for more individuals to have the opportunity to join the Pennsylvania State Police. As the governor said, effective today, August 28, 2023, college credits are no longer required to become a Pennsylvania State Trooper. This change brings us in line with other qualifications listed to become a trooper in our neighboring police agencies, such as Maryland, Ohio, West Virginia, and Virginia. With this change, I do not expect to see a drop-off in the quality or caliber of those who go on to successfully graduate from our training academy and become troopers. We demand the highest standards and will continue to do so. We are looking for those individuals who truly want to make a difference in Pennsylvania communities. We want people who will do the right thing when no one is looking, and people who will go above and beyond to serve and protect. We want people who want to become part of something bigger than themselves. To those who are now eligible and interested in submitting an application, I urge you to come and find out what a tremendous career the Pennsylvania State Police truly is. While the tangible aspects of the job, such as salary and benefits, are attractive, policing, as the governor has said many times, is a noble profession. And we firmly believe the work that we do, while challenging, is also very rewarding. Whether you're taking part in an investigation to get a dangerous person off the streets or making our highways safer, there are many ways you can truly make a difference. After an applicant passes a qualifying exam, they must successfully complete a polygraph exam, background investigation, physical readiness test, and a medical and psychological evaluation before being offered the position of cadet to come here and train. The training to become a Pennsylvania State Police Trooper occurs right here in Hershey, on top of the hill, and it takes approximately 28 weeks. Here, you train and acquire the foundation and knowledge to be successful when you leave here graduating as a trooper. Upon graduation, the salary of a trooper is listed at $66,911 a year. That figure quickly climbs as you accrue more service, time, and attain promotions. Graduation from here in Hershey after your 28-week training experience requires you to serve a 12-month probationary field training experience with our troopers, who are coaches, and then subsequently be evaluated through the remainder of that period before you're finally 18 months in, a full trooper, and completed your probationary time. After 3 years of working the road as a patrol trooper, you'll have the opportunity to participate in approximately 24 specialized positions that we offer. There's an adage that says to find your niche in the state police, work towards that goal, and then have a very rewarding career, perhaps as a specialty trooper. We want this change to open the door to those to whom we're not eligible, who have the drive and passion and determination to become Pennsylvania State Troopers. Please come join us. Please learn to make a living while you make a life as a member of the first and finest state police agency in the United States. I'll now turn it over to Captain Jamal Pratt, who works in our Bureau of Training and Education as our recruiting division coordinator. Captain Pratt.
Thank you, sir. Good morning. Thank you, Colonel Parris, Governor Shapiro. As the Colonel said, we welcome this opportunity to fill our ranks with individuals who will make an exemplary Pennsylvania State Police trooper. Those individuals who would not have otherwise had this opportunity because they did not meet the college credit requirement. We welcome those with life and work experience who will come in and give their all to serve our residents and visitors of Pennsylvania. We firmly believe this change will boost our efforts to attract those quality applicants. Here at the Academy, we provide the mental, physical, emotional skill, and rigorous training for cadets that they will need to become Pennsylvania State Troopers. During the approximate 28-week training program, these women and men will train incredibly hard, and through their dedication and commitment to success, they will enhance their already good characteristics and skills, earning the privilege to graduate to the rank of Pennsylvania State Trooper. They will hold their heads higher, be more confident in their skills and abilities, and have what it takes to complete a successful career in law enforcement. As our recent 50 new troopers who graduated this past Friday can attest, our training program will push you beyond the limits in which you believe you are capable of. We are looking for those who believe they have what it takes. And for those who are wanting to accept that challenge and want to be a part of this great tradition, we ask that you please visit patrooper.com to apply or contact one of our recruitment service members. Additionally, on patrooper.com, you can also view our physical fitness standards and what to expect during our training program. We are very proud of the tradition here at PSP. We're very proud of our training program, and we welcome all of those interested in joining us. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Pratt.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. With that, three of us would be happy to take some questions. Yes.
Do you guys have a number or an estimate of how many applicants you were turning away because they didn't reach that college requirement, possibly in the last round of applications?
Captain, Colonel.
At this point, when you sign on to patrooper.com, which we've attempted to do to make the job as accessible to greet people where they are, there's a series of questions that are asked. And one of them is, do you have the, how many college credits do you have? We have those numbers inside internally. I can get them for you, but that's how we would track it. We're still going to continue to track it. We certainly, value the education that people applying have. This is not in any way, shape, or form, an anti-education. Certainly the opposite. We're looking to give the best possible training that we can.
I'll come to your question in 1 second, if you don't mind. I just want to add anecdotally, when I signed the executive order on my first day in office, making sure that 92% of our state government jobs, this is excluding troopers, but I think this anecdotal evidence would be helpful to you in the question, or at least I hope it might. We have found anecdotally and based on the guidance of HR professionals that an application that showed a requirement, in this case for college credits, or in the case of state government prior to my EO for a college degree, that it just knocked people out from even beginning the process. They felt that there was a barrier erected where they were not being invited to participate in serving their Commonwealth. And so we've seen a lot of anecdotal evidence positively that people with the skills that we want working in government are now applying, whereas they didn't before. So it's never going to be possible to capture everyone that we missed, but we're seeing reason to believe that without these credit or degree requirements, that we're going to get a broader range of people applying, and that's a good thing for the Commonwealth and, of course, a good thing for the state police. Sorry to interrupt you.
That's fine. What specifically, until today, were the credit degree requirements? Like how many hours?
So that factored in, that the requirement was for 60 college credits, not necessarily in any one academic area. And when we sat down and looked at the 1,300-hour plus basic training curriculum that we're always expanding, so an example of that would be an additional 40 hours that we've recently put in concert with Penn State University and Hershey Med on crisis intervention training and dealing with de-escalation that pushed that number over the 1,300-hour mark. We really thought and looked at, historically, we've given waivers for prior police service with full arrest powers or military service with an honorable discharge. We looked at it and said, you know, with the number of applicants that we've had, the commitment from the governor, the commitment from the legislature in the budget, the governor going out and saying policing is a noble profession, we didn't want to be in a position 12, 18, 24 months from now to have continued to do the same thing and expected a different result.
Did you find that applicants were going to other states where these requirements were not in place?
Difficult to track. I would say we probably could offer you anecdotal evidence. I was briefed anecdotally that we had a group of troopers, recruiters at the farm show recently, and there were a lot of people who came up and said, do you still have your college requirement? When they were told yes, they turned on their heel and walked away. Is that empirical data that I can offer to you? No, I think from our standpoint, it's about the commitment to hire the 384 troopers to give them the best possible training. The commitment has been there to continue with our academy project, which will be moving forward into the fall here. We want the best possible education to put our people out there and do the job. We're always looking to become as diverse as we possibly can. Our record is what it is, and we've really made a commitment and underscored that. My hope is that it does, but we will see. We are constantly trying to engage with people. I've said this before, if you're aware of somebody who wants to become a Pennsylvania State Trooper, tell us where they are. We will go find them. You know, you've seen the operating environment in these first 7 months of the administration. It's been fairly challenging. Law enforcement has been the beneficiary of a significant amount of violence across the Commonwealth. Is that working against us? I would ask you rhetorically, if you know you were a parent, would you recommend it? I think it's a noble job, but we want those people out there that are committed to do it to have the best shot at doing it.
You have a number of vacancies right now. You mentioned difficulty recruiting. I know that's a nationwide problem.
Yes, our vacancy rate right now, we don't typically publish what that is. We just graduated a cadet class. We have a cadet class in here now with 76 cadets, I believe, that's slated to come out December 22nd of 2023. The budget calls for the hiring of 384 troopers. So that's what our concentration is right now, to get those people to take the test, to get them through the steps that I outlined, and to get them a class date, hopefully in November, February, or June for this upcoming fiscal year.
I imagine this is one piece of the puzzle. Are there some other things that are either in the works or that you're considering to do to try and boost some of the hiring numbers?
We could have an 8-hour discussion with that. We've made a commitment through our Law and Leadership program, our Junior Law and Leadership program. Our Camp Cadet programs have been around for decades. We're trying to engage historical black colleges and universities, trying to engage people that are transitioning out of the military who might have an interest in law enforcement. We're trying to be as present as we can be on social media platforms to highlight the great work. The contract will be up this year with the Pennsylvania State Troopers Association. We need to make sure, and we know that the governor has said that he wants to make sure that it's an attractive position from those extrinsic variables that people consider. But we have really committed ourselves, and will continue to do so under Captain Pratt and the entire department, to make sure that we're committed to that.
You mentioned a lot of people retiring, but a lot of people just not applying as well. The governor mentioned 2019, 8,000 per class. This past year, 1,800. What would you say is the biggest factor maybe driving people from even applying?
It would be speculation on my part, but I think it's the operating environment. And I think that the leadership of the governor has been exemplary in terms of coming in and saying we need people who want to do these challenging jobs. We want to cultivate people that want to answer the call for service in their communities. And you've seen his support of us through the incident in Lewistown and Juniata County and across the Commonwealth. We've had several high-profile incidents, obviously, in the first 7 months. I don't speak for everybody. I don't know that you can empirically hammer down on that, but I can say that we want to make sure that the quality of the product that's walking across the stage, which we were just at on Friday, there's no drop off. And I spent 3 days last week, nearly one-on-one here, dealing with the newly graduating cadets that were becoming troopers. And for as difficult as those numbers are to track with the number of people, I'm convinced that the 50 people who walked across the stage, they want to be there and they want to do the job. And to me, that's the hope for the future. If this allows more of those people access for an opportunity to come here and compete and meet the standard and graduate, that's what we want to be a part of.
And Colonel, I just want to add to that. About 5 or 6 years ago, I began as Attorney General engaging in an effort to try and help municipal police departments, especially, recruit more women and men to serve in their ranks. We did a lot of listening across the Commonwealth to determine what was holding people up from applying in the first place. And I would say there's a lot of reasons, but they can really be summarized in 3 particular buckets. Number one, you've got to make sure that you're paying a good wage and a competitive wage, and we're committed to doing that here at the state police. Number two, you've got to eliminate barriers to entry, and I think we're taking steps today to be able to do that and encourage more people to apply so you can swell the ranks of those who are just trying to take the test to compete for one of these jobs. And number three, and it's hard for this to show up on a spreadsheet, but it's critically important. Folks need to know you're going to have their back and that policing is a noble profession. And we're going to hold our state troopers and all of our municipal law enforcement to the highest standards. And we're going to call them out if they don't meet those standards, of course. I think everyone up here understands that. But you've got to make sure that folks in the community respect the work of police, that leaders in government respect the work of police. And I think if you can do all 3 of those things, good pay, eliminate artificial barriers to entry, and demonstrate clearly that you believe policing is a noble profession, that can help us begin to get back to where we were just a few years ago, having thousands apply for these positions as opposed to the numbers that we're seeing today.
Governor, based on your administration's negotiations with the Senate GOP, which of your priorities do you think might get done on Wednesday when they come back?
Well, look, I think that's largely up to the Senate and the House to communicate. I think, having sort of performative efforts or simply lobbying bills back and forth is not very helpful. What is helpful is to have honest dialogue. And I've been saying this all summer, that the House and Senate need to learn to work together. We're talking about some serious unfinished business. The legislature still has yet to send me bills to fund our colleges and university. The legislature has yet to send me the language necessary to fund about 1% of the overall budget initiatives. And finally, there's other unfinished business. The legislature needs to agree and send me a minimum wage increase. The legislature should meet and talk and agree and send me scholarships for students who need extra help. The legislature should meet and talk and agree on legislation to combat gun violence in our communities and to make sure our LGBTQ community gets the protections that they deserve and more. Both chambers have passed bills back and forth, but they've yet to really sit down and engage in the kind of meaningful dialogue that is going to spur on the level of collaboration that we need to see in our state capitol. I've remarked many times I'm the only governor in the nation with a full-time divided legislature. And I've also remarked several times that that full-time divided legislature needs to learn to work together. So what I'm hoping that they do is that they negotiate, they work together on all of these various issues, and they come together around compromises that they can put on my desk to help the good people of Pennsylvania. That's what we were able to do with that nearly $46 billion budget that yielded great results for Pennsylvanians. You heard the Colonel talk about the fact that we have 4 new cadet classes, sustainable funding for both PSP and infrastructure, historically high levels of investment in public education, including universal free breakfast, historically high levels of investment in economic development, and much, much more. We showed that we can come together and work together and get big things done, but now what we need to see is the leaders of the House and Senate learn to work together to find these areas of common ground. I've outlined some of them. I'm sure they have other priorities as well, and I look forward to continuing to work with both sides of the aisle. Thank you all very much.